We are live. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the show. It's the David Starlyte show, and here I am live, coming to you live from Australia. And haven't prepared a lot of thoughts today, so let me know in the comments if you would like me to discuss anything at all. Readings, meditations, breath work, everything is welcome on the show. Would love to hear where you're from and what you're doing and what your questions are today. Always aligned to a pathway, the highest possible pathway, the highest possible timeline towards illumination, enlightenment, awareness, and consciousness. So that's really the point of the show, the purpose, or the why we do it, to raise the collective consciousness, to raise the consciousness, to bring up the energy. And when we are more tuned into more of the spiritual dimension, or call it the soul, or call it the higher power, the energy beneath the surface, the consciousness beneath the surface, the interconnected, interwoven, one source, one force of all consciousness, all sentient beings, all sentience and all non-sentience, all fullness and all emptiness, all yin and all yang. So that's the level of attunement we can all reach through practice, through cultivating and cultivation of our awareness. How has your week been? How is it going? Here in Australia, it is 8:06 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, just to let you know the time. And I'm going to tune into the Buddhism Oracle deck, call on the Buddhist elders, the Buddhist masters, the Buddhist teachers who've come before me to build on their wisdom. We can always connect to other pathways, to other beings, to other historic entities with our consciousness. We can always connect. Doesn't mean we're going to get every single detail of their words or their lifetimes, but we can connect to the energy of that type of modality or type of people who followed it. That particularly when there's a strong energy, a lot of people following a certain energy, then the energy is more powerful. Marianne, welcome to the show. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. Rainy few days. Tomorrow will be the wettest. So very wet where you are. We had a lot of rain here too. It's cleared up. I was up in the dark this morning, up quite early. It was very dark and trying to keep warm. And I had two dogs, two animal beings that accompanied me. That were pretty warm and finding a good spot. Good morning, David. Are the fur babies with you? So these babies, they were with me this morning in my bed. Believe it or not, they were in my bed, but now they are downstairs. So we've been to the beach, a little bit of a sunrise experience. It's kind of like a moderate day, cloud cover, and it was quite lovely on the beach. Not too hot, not too cold, and just kind of perfect. Probably a little bit warmer would be perfect, but it is still July, which is the winter. So winter in the tropics, and everything is going well. Thank you, Marianne. So the dogs, they accompanied me. I do find I wake up a bit more when they're around. They move, they do things that, it does keep me up a little bit more than regularly. So when they're not around, I find sometimes I can sleep more deeply. Marianne says the rain is fixing the bad air quality from Canada, from the wildfires. And is there an update about the wildfires? Do we have any knowledge about what caused it, what causes it, what's going on there? Is it climate change, but sorry about the air quality, and that is rather awful, can be rather awful. And I didn't hear good things about the air quality in Toronto, and around there. I think that's where probably the worst hit is, around there. But New York is pretty close, so you would definitely have that. And sorry to hear, Marianne. Sorry to hear. Let's see if we can raise the consciousness, raise the frequency, and shift the timeline, shift the energy forward to clear the environment. But wildfires are something that even without human beings there would be some of that. So it's not all human intervention, but definitely climate change, definitely human consciousness does affect the climate, does affect natural disasters and the like. It's all consciousness. It's all consciousness. So that's good to hear you have some rain, Marianne. So we are going to pick now from the Buddhist article. Good morning to everyone, young and old, new members, new followers. Marianne says no update yet. It's pretty expensive, like down to Mississippi. Well, how many S's is that? That's a lot of S's. Pretty expansive, not expensive, expansive, like down to Mississippi. Wow. Well, you spelled that correctly. I'm very impressed. Marianne, that is very impressive. Mississippi. So that's really pretty far, Mississippi. I cannot imagine where Mississippi is. I'm like, who's even been there? I don't think I've even met someone from out there. You know, people who come to Australia, they're usually from like the major centers, like most of them come from California. That's most common, or you know, it's the main centers. Marianne says there's a trick to it. A trick to the spelling Mississippi. Well, you just got to double up each of the main letters. So that's the trick. Alpha, you're bald. Alpha. Well, I'm not entirely bald. I actually cut it really thin. So if I were to grow my hair, you would see, I wouldn't say bald, but definitely I have lost hair around here. Carlos says, oh my God, David, long time no see. Oh my goodness. Well, wonderful to see you, Carlos, and I missed you. And welcome to the show. How have you been? I've been pretty busy myself. Seem to be lots of variety and engagement, various things, sort of making some progress. Some things have been a bit slow and some things have been a bit immersive, but generally quite good. How is it going on your side, Carlos? And thank you for sharing. Cute for Life says, you look pretty. I'm not sure that that's the look I'm looking for, but thank you for the feedback. And Alpha Printer, your hairline is all the way back in the 1980s. The 1980s. I don't know what you mean by that. Marianne says, just male pattern baldness, similar to Capuchin monks. Capuchin monks. Yeah, well, there is definitely some hair loss around here, and I like, I do kind of cut it really short. But if I were to grow it, you would actually see that I do have quite a lot of hair still, but I'm not that interested anymore in hair or no hair. Alpha, you seem pretty interesting. I don't know what you mean about the 1980s, but a little bit of a different topic there. But thank you, Cute for Life. I love the feedback. You look pretty. Thank you. Stu says he looks great with it that short. So thank you, Stu. I love you, Stu. And Stu sees the good in everyone and sees the beautiful side of life. If we are going to talk about my hair growth, Alpha says put some lime on it when you shave. It should grow back. What what do you mean by lime? Like, do you mean like a lemon, like a lime? Put some lime on it when you shave. I don't actually shave my hair. I have a clipper, so I cut it. But what do you mean by lime? Do you mean like literally a lime? Do you just like slice up a lime and put? Yeah, that may stimulate it. It's interesting feedback. I kind of lost interest in growing hair around the age of 30. Lemon or lime. So literally like lemon or lime. I haven't heard that before. That's really cool. So you just stick lemons up here, and how long does that take? Does it grow back? So thank you, Stu, for the great feedback. I did used to be quite into hair growth. Late 1970s, Telly Savalas went one better bald, completely bald. Yes, slice in half and just rub a half on your head. Oh, that's really, really interesting. Telly Savalas. Terry, or was it Terry Savalas? I know who you mean, Marianne, and are you comparing me to him? Well, thank you. I'll take that. You know, to be honest, when I became a monk or lived with the monks in Thailand, this is going back to 15 years ago when I was with the monks. So what they did was they shaved all my hair off and my eyebrows. And I actually felt quite comfortable with that. I actually liked it and felt more, I just felt myself, because I always found hair a little bit, it kind of annoyed me a little bit. And I was quite attached to this idea of hair growth. So when I was in my 20s, I used to take a testosterone inhibitor. I forget what it's called. It inhibits the conversion of testosterone, I think, to dihydrotestosterone, something like that. And so I had a full growth of hair up until about 30 or so. And then I went to Thailand and they shaved it all off. And I kind of lost my attachment to it because I realized, I don't really need this hair. And people, when I worked in Vietnam after Thailand, I worked in Vietnam. My boss, she loved it, and she used to get the barber to like cut my eyebrows and cut my hair because she was Buddhist, so she loved the idea of me being a monk. She wanted that for my healing and therapy. So I was working as a therapist, as a healer, teaching meditation in Vietnam, and so she wanted me to look like that, and people liked it. They seemed to like it. It resonated with people. So I kind of really liked that look 15 years back, and being a monk, that's what they do. And so that's kind of why I like it. And Marianne says it was his statement on sexy plus that lollipop. All right, well, maybe I need a lollipop. Maybe I need to get a lollipop. Oh, thank you, Marianne. I've been up early. It was really dark when I got up, and I've been waking up sometimes when in the dark because it's getting light, seemingly quite late. Like this morning, it was kind of the sun was coming up at about 7 a.m. for sunrise, so quite late. And I realized that I just spilled my tea. So not much mindfulness. All this talk about haircuts and sexiness and male pattern baldness and all these opinions about hair, to grow or not to grow. I don't know. It's kind of, these things are subjective and they're personal. And as a 20-year-old, I was really like into like my hair, but when I didn't have hair, I felt kind of a bit liberated as well, and at least detached from this idea of hair growth. But maybe for some people, it makes me unattractive. For some people, I don't know. Everyone is a little bit different. And maybe those people who find it unattractive, then they just don't want to get closer to me. I don't know. I don't really know. Some like it, some don't. I guess it's a personal flavor, but definitely if I grew my hair, you would see that like there's still a lot. There's still quite a lot of hair up here. And Michael actually takes this inhibitor, this testosterone inhibitor. He takes it, and he's like busy with a lot of products, like growing his hair. He's got a full head of hair, but he really, I think once you have it, you want to hold on to it. And then after a while, if you lose it, you just like kind of let go of that, just like whatever. Let go of that idea of hair. I don't really mind. But Michael, he's taking this testosterone inhibitor, which promotes hair growth in men. All right, we went down an interesting rabbit hole. Thank you for the rabbit hole. Any other tips about my hair, about my attractiveness, about, promoting more sexiness? That's not what we usually talk about on the show, but thank you for the beautiful feedback, Stu. And we're going to get some wisdom channeling, tuning into the Buddhism Oracle deck. And what does it come up with? It comes up with awareness, which I was talking about previously, awareness. And I think I mentioned the sun. Awareness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. So imagine that when the sun shines on something, it transforms it. The sun is alive. It's got a life force energy. It's got definitely the sense of aliveness, vibration, energy. How do you put it? It's got that kind of essence of life. And when it shines on everything, we come alive. We come alive. Without the sun, most living things cannot live. So most of planet Earth is dependent on the sun. If not directly, then indirectly. Sun also makes for growth. Well, definitely for plants. So comparing the metaphor of the sun and awareness, or the sun and consciousness, excuse me. Awareness is like the sun. When it shines on things, they are transformed. So I'm actually quoting Thich Nhat Hanh, just so you know, I'm quoting Thich Nhat Hanh. Awareness is the amazing knowingness that comes from the intelligence of the mind, the opening of the heart, and the different sensations within the body. These three major dimensions are simultaneously aware of the different layers of truth, and when in balance, can create great contentment and well-being in the mind, body, and spirit. But we're tuning into a type of intelligence which is within the consciousness of the sun. It's rising up within us. It's almost like the sun touches us and we feel a sense of aliveness. In the same way, awareness touches us and our consciousness lights up. So if we think about something beautiful, maybe a childhood experience that we cherish, perhaps I have something when I was on the beach and there's rock pools looking for mussels and sea urchins, and it was just a very magical time for me when I was in those rock pools, probably 8 years old or whatever it was, on the beach. The sun was warm and I was playing with the butterflies and being caressed by this playfulness, this consciousness of exploration, and also of wonderment, of awe, of being captivated by these sea creatures, these extraordinary sea creatures, and the life, the abundant life within the ocean, which sometimes you only notice when you actually look, when you're actually there and present for that. Along the Great Barrier Reef, so people here do go in the ocean diving, snorkeling. This is a busy time of year for that kind of thing. So there is this wonderment, this awe of nature, what's around us, and the possibilities and potentialities for all the life around us. So that is what's coming through from the Buddhism Oracle deck, I am going to check in with the Starseed Oracle. Checking in with the Starseed Oracle. Okay. And we have that this time in the world is a little bit of a pause just to let things settle. We are going through a collective shift, a collective change, and we've got to think of the tapestry of life as being woven, as not being complete. And every step of the way, we are supported. We're not alone. And there is a sense of culmination, of collective consciousness upgrading, of moving things forward and building towards the highest possible timeline for humanity. And not just humanity, but our own individual lives. It feels like there is evolution, there is development, there is a sense of raising our frequencies and moving upwards towards a higher sense of awareness. Does that resonate for you? Let's pick another card, and feel free to comment about consciousness or what's going on in your life. I know Marianne's got the air issue. And what causes those fires? Or is it just outside of human influence and in human control? Because not everything is influenced by human beings. So I've had all these cards jump out at me. So let's just have a look. So number one, in this frequency, in this reading about the collective energy, about Earth, is that Earth is part of a community. It's part of a constellation of planets and stars that are energetically connected. So there's a community, call it the universe, the solar system, the galaxy we're in. It's a type of community of stars. So we tend to often think of things in isolation, but we are part of this collective, and we influence that collective, even maybe not consciously so or intentionally so. We do influence that energy. So that's why we have to be careful with creating peace on Earth and not toxifying the air, not throwing toxic chemicals around. Things like nuclear is particularly troublesome, particularly damaging. It obstructs the magnetic attractions of magnetic forces of other galactic bodies, stars, planets. It affects their energy. We do affect the planets around us, and that means we have a responsibility to care for this Earth, not just because it's our only Earth, our only planet, but also because it's part of a family, part of an environment. So what's happening here with this blue flame is what we've been talking about, which is it's like a torch of consciousness that's being passed down, and the opportunity for awakening is now to really activate our minds, to activate our consciousness towards a new way of seeing the world, a new Earth, a new way of living and being. So that is the blue flame. The next card is, it's just beautiful. If you can see that, it's really beautiful. It's got all the life of Earth, the mountains, the ocean, the forests. It's all coming together, and that's promoting new ways of new technologies, new solutions, new beginnings. So this is what we're seeing. We are seeing this explosion of growth in new ways of not just seeing the world, but new solutions being developed. And it's saying we are going to survive everything we're going through. We are going to survive. So not to not to worry about the survival of Earth. We are surviving this, but it's not easy, and we do have these new technologies. So anything to do with harmonizing with Mother Earth, harmonizing with the universe, I'm getting sound and light frequencies as being very powerful. So you may find that surgery is not done in the same way. We're using light and sun. What do you think about Islam? That's an unusual question. Well, Islam is one of these religions, like there's quite a number of them. And I don't tend to talk about religion too much because that's not really where the planetary consciousness is moving to. That's kind of the old way of being, the old dogmas. So unless the religion is transforming, is evolving, is moving with the times, it's going to be left behind. So Islam is kind of, you have people forward looking who are developing and evolving with their consciousness, and then you have people who are stuck in dogmas and stuck in these old ideas, which really, it's really man-made. All the religions were man-made. So what do you think about Islam? Do you think it's the truth? What do you mean by the truth? These kind of religions were all man-made, so they were made by human beings, and often it's a bit murky because it's like often a lot of the writing takes place hundreds of years after the supposed events, and then it's like a lot of people, if you go back, couldn't read and write. So the history of religion often in the context of people not being able to read and write, and then having one religion or one text which was written hundreds of years after these supposed events. And so that's kind of all the religions pretty much. But it doesn't mean that they're not evolving and changing, and then the potential for evolving and changing and bringing love and consciousness. But it can't be in this kind of dogma of this is the truth, and if you don't follow the truth, then we're gonna burn your house down or whatever. Marianne says, my sister's cat died about a week ago, and I need to know when they find their new apartment and what neighborhood. I need them to do what I asked them to do over a year ago. Well, they are very stuck, Marianne, so there's only so much you can do. But I'll tune into that. I'm just catching up with the comments. I can cut my heart and blood pressure meds till they do. Mohammed, do you think it's the truth? I don't think any of the religions are the truth. And what do you mean by the truth? Anything that's kind of backward, old, written in the past, old books, they may point to certain truths. They may be channeled from the divine. They may contain elements of prophecy, but as a whole, there's no religion that is the truth. That's not historically accurate. So you've got to look at what evidence there is for any of these claims. But I think things are evolving, and you can always find the spiritual elements within each religion. And I would say those are coming from truth. Maybe not truth isn't the right word, but coming from love and high consciousness. So don't try and intellectualize so much, but what is raising the vibration of the planet? What is raising the vibration of humanity? If it's not love, it's not coming from the highest vibration, love, peace, grace, which is a lot of the Christian mystics. That kind of energy was very high vibration. A lot of the Buddhist mystics, it's very spiritual, very high vibration. Islam was plagiarized from Judaism and Christianity. It's still stuck in the 14th century. Yeah, so a lot of Islam comes from the religions that came before it, and it's not a very it's just another one of these religions that came along and said, we are right and you are wrong. Follow us or go the highway. And if you don't follow us, you're wrong. And that's dogma. It's not love. It's not truth. It's not high consciousness. It's not made by humans. So these religions were all written by humans. Mahane. They're all written by humans and come from humans, and that's not really, well, unless you follow those religions, that's not what you're going to believe. Brother, Allah is the most forgiving and the most merciful. So that is you're referring to the divine consciousness. So the divine consciousness is not something human beings take and then go and, to conquer in the name of that dogma. So the actual consciousness of Allah, which I think is the one source, the one force, is a higher consciousness. It's not a lower consciousness. So anything to do with violence is running counter to that force, the one source, the one force. Anything where we do damage to the earth, where we do damage to animals, to plants, to human beings, then it's running counter to higher consciousness. So just think about it energetically. What is the energy of this? If it's hateful, if it's oppressive, if it's demonizing women or demonizing other people, then it's not raising the collective frequency and vibration. Marianne says, yeah, so there's very harsh rules in these kind of religions. There's very harsh rules. And we all come from some influence of these, all the religions, all the major religions. We all come from some of the religions that have a lot of darkness attached to them. And a lot of the kind of war energy, where people just going out and, killing people, saying this is, follow this way, or we're going to kill you. You mean Allah, the pagan moon god? But there's different interpretations of what God is, but when it comes to human interpretations, one has to be really careful. And anyone claiming their book is the truth, it's like, well, there is no book that is the truth. We have science. Science is testable. We can test science. We can find out what is true. And even that, there's quantum physics. So we always have to have the highest principles, the highest ethics, testing things of what is true, what isn't true, and building a sort of set of values, a set of rules, a set of consciousness, a set of basically what is science. And science is always moving. Technology is moving. It's not static. These religions are always, well, some of them are static. They're stuck in an old text. Well, that's not the reality we live in. We live in a reality that's harmonizing with the present moment. The sun, the moon, the stars, the constellations are moving, evolving, flowing. So everything comes down to energy, to consciousness. And if you're looking to follow a path, there's got to be evolution, and there's got to be a path that raises up your own level, your own awareness and consciousness. Anything that brings you down is not, it's not about truth or false, but it's about energy, what works. If it comes from love, then it's going to raise your frequency. So I think some of the religions I think if they don't evolve, they're just going to disappear. And I think they will evolve. So that's my answer. I think they're going to become basically connected with science. So spirituality and science are going to merge, and it's becoming, and it's going to become more and more like one filter. But any kind of religions that are dogma based have these beliefs, these rigid beliefs, these rules, those are not going to survive, because the energy doesn't allow for that anymore. And we keep going back to, hearsay. Well, someone wrote something down 2,000 years ago. Well, because something's written in an old book, that doesn't make it true. It's like I can write anything in a book. Nowadays, we have self-publishing. You can write anything in a book. It doesn't make it true. So writing things in books is not a sign that they are true. And even if you have, millions of people believing something, it also doesn't make it true. So there's many ways we can look at evidence. And a lot of the religions follow things where there's no actual evidence. If you look at what evidence is, there's actually no evidence that those things ever happen. There's no evidence at all. And a book is not it's not evidence. You can't point to a book and say, well, this is evidence. So it's an interesting topic, but I feel quite, the energy of that topic really brings you down. I feel quite, just talking about it, I feel there's something disturbed or disturbing in the field when you talk about religions. And it's a type of rigidity, a type of dogmatic sticking to something as if, if it's in a book or whatever, then it's true. And then it's often creates violence, because people become angry if you don't follow the word in a book or whatever it is. So it's the violence that it's a disconnection from spirit. It's really a spiritual disconnection, like it's being spiritually cut off from source energy. And source energy is open. It's within science. It's an openness. It's an energetic flow. It's a higher consciousness. That's what's available to us. Christianity modernized from having to wear a mantilla at church. A woman no longer has to wear it. Mass was in Latin, and it changed the languages of the services to English and French. Yeah, it's definitely true. There's a sense of modernization. There's a sense of contemporary refinement, and that's what human beings are here to do, is to constantly refine and move with where things are. So I do agree, Marianne. It's definitely been this, and I attended some Catholic retreats, and the priests were forward-looking, and they were really honest about mistakes of the past, and really grappling with, contemporary issues, which I think that's really important. Can the religion grapple with contemporary issues? If it cannot, then perhaps it cannot survive, because if it's not relevant, then it's going to kind of dissolve into history, into the past. So to remain relevant, there's got to be evolution. There's got to be a sense of modernization. And I think some people are still holding on steadfastly to old ideas and old belief systems, which aren't part of this new age that we're evolving into, this new time. But there's always, in all religions, there is a lot of beauty. And so, always respect and honor people and their beliefs. But it doesn't mean that those beliefs are true. It doesn't mean that those beliefs are sort of, we need to spread this around the world. I would say spread science first, and we will advance as a humanity. Just focus on the science, focus on what we know to be true, the principles of science, which is evidence-based and repeatable. That's really important. And the rest will come naturally. There are spiritual practices we can we can utilize the beautiful spiritual practices in all traditions. All traditions have beautiful spiritual practices, and in Islam they have these wonderful practices from Sufism, from the Sufis, which is really the enlightened wing of a religion, where people, the spiritual wing of a religion, and we have a lot of that in Christianity, a wealth of Christian mysticism, which is it's love, it's peace, it's grace, it's higher vibration, it's of a higher vibration, it's of a higher spirit. So that's definitely something beautiful which can be cultivated, can be enjoyed, can be celebrated. So that's a few insights about the topic. Will religion survive? I guess the question is, and just checking in with the cards and seeing if there's any insight coming through. And this card is very much about merging boundaries, distilling concepts in a clear way, getting core with what is dependency, codependency, boundaries, discernment, and kind of Hadarian energy, which means we have to understand where I end and where I begin, where another person ends and where we begin. Appropriate boundaries, appropriate use of science, appropriate use of spirituality, and then how we treat other people is really important. So whatever your belief system, if you go out and damage people or disparage people or persecute people or oppress people, you're not doing that in the name of any higher power, any God, any spirituality. That's a darkness within you. So it's almost like a trick to go out and persecute people because you're not living the godly way, you're not living the spiritual way, you're not living the way of God, which is peace, which is divine love, which is grace, which is harmony. So really look to the societies that are working the best, which seem to be, I would say, the most science-based societies are doing that because they're following first principles, and that seems to work best outside of any dogma, outside of any religion. What works if we are educating children? What actually works for those children? What works best for each child? How do we implement these ways? But definitely coming to an ethical framework that is co-creating and something that harmonizes with the planetary grid, with each other, each one of us, with the future of the earth, with nature. How do we interact with nature? How do we interact with animals? So I see a lot of people who claim to be religious and then they're going out and killing animals en masse, or just poisoning plants, destroying forests, engaging in war. So this is not something that is bringing peace to the planetary grid, bringing peace to each other. So always look to peace. Am I creating peace? Am I creating more peace? And perhaps that's the more important question, not about which religion a person follows, but are they bringing peace into the world? Are they cultivating more peace for others, for each other? So I think that's the most important ingredient, the most important question. So that's a few of my ideas. Feel free to share your ideas in the comments. I am going to tune into Marianne briefly, because Marianne, you were asking about the energy around So there we go. My sister's cat died about a week ago. I think the same cards come up repeatedly. It's let's just see there. So that's a kind of shift, a change, and that's someone who's, it's a thinking woman. So these two cards I think have come up before. You know, we have a female energy, we have a change, we have a stuck energy. Someone is overthinking everything. Is resistant to change, doesn't want to change. And so the energy sort of ends up getting a bit stuck. We are moving to the change, but then it doesn't quite happen because someone doesn't want it to happen. So in order to transcend that, in order to shift away from this, there's got to be an integration of emotion, of belief, of thoughts, of ideas, of energy that is transcendent. So we've got to shift away from this stuck energy towards a sort of transcendent path. So that is going to illuminate this, or trying not to keep a kid out of Catholic school. Actual neighbor did that to me. So these people who think that they should be controlling other people. So we've got to cultivate more of a spiritual dimension in this question, and that's going to shift the energy. But when energy's stuck, there's got to be a change. There's got to be an evolution. So it's still stuck, and we need to unstuck it. We need to transform the energy, Marianne. They're identical twins. Okay. Right. So what we end up with this is, it's indecision. That's the clearest sign about this situation, Marianne. It's indecision. It's like one pulling one way, the other pulling the other way, and it's a little bit chaotic, and you just end up with an impasse. So that's what I get clearly. All right, so just to go back to basics now, I thought we could consider a little bit of breathing, or they call it breath work. There's a bit of construction happening, so it's a little bit loud, so I may need to end the show quickly or soon. But the idea of box breathings, or imagine a square, imagine a perfect square. So you breathe in, for instance, to the count of 4, hold for the count of 4, breathe out for the count of 4, and then hold for the count of 4, and start the cycle again. So each stage of there are 4 stages to create this kind of square box. Each of those 4 stages are the count. So you can even count to 5 or explore what works for you. This creates a spaciousness in each breath cycle, and that integrates and calms the nervous system, balances the nervous system. So I'm going to do this briefly, and you're welcome to follow along. Box breathing. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathing in again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you continue at your own pace, with your own count, we'll just do this for a brief time together. that is a practice you can use throughout the day or come back to throughout the day whenever you have a moment before you sleep as well or during the night. It's a consistency and a beautiful practice that we can always use as a resource. And Jess, welcome to the show. Lovely to see Jess. We were talking on social media, so great to have Jess. How are you today? Yeah, I'm going to pick a card for you, Jess. So how wonderful to see Jess on the show. And this card is about harmony and balance, and it's something I resonate with strongly, which is the constellation, not the constellation, there's two stars, Sirius A and Sirius B, and the planet Sirius A, Sirius B. It's a very shiny light within the sky, the dog star Sirius. Thank you. Yeah, well, yes, people make me mad. Yeah, Jess, it's not easy, this planet, not easy at all. So Sirius energy is about bringing harmony and balance. So this is saying that you are bringing this harmony and balance, and it's part of your purpose. And that means, in a way, the more harmony and balance that isn't there, the more work you have to do. The more work you have to do. So it's kind of an opportunity when you see all this behavior around you that's dysfunctional or distasteful or out of integrity. It's opportunity for you to bring balance, bring loving vibration, to uplift those around you. And a lot of people karmically have returned repeatedly in their life purpose to help others, to help humanity, to seed the light, to grow the light, to grow this consciousness of love and enlightenment and peace. Laugh out loud. Ooh, the ones who are here to plant sacredness of life back in. So this is bringing sacredness. Kind of what I was talking to throughout the show is seeding this consciousness of sacredness, which is love, harmony, and grace and peace. So bringing those energies, love, knowingness, bliss, satnam is, I think, the Vedic or the Hindu approach, love, knowingness, bliss, which is satnam, planting the sacred energy into life, appreciating life and raising the vibration of other people, honoring both the divine masculine and the divine feminine to usher deep reverence back into life. So this is holding the frequency of love and bringing harmony back into existence to achieve balance within us as individuals, within our partners, other people, and within life itself. Harmony, grace, love, peace. Oh, that's nice. So wonderful to have you, Jess. I'm going to wish everyone a beautiful, harmonious day with lots and lots of love to everyone. Just quickly checking in with Navid. Does the girl who was trying to give me eye contact a few months ago planning to approach me in the future? I don't get that she is, Navid. I don't get that she is. I've just got the dog came to visit me. Let's have a look. I get that this is coming from you. I get that that's you. It's like you're projecting outward. You're projecting outward. You're thinking things that people are doing, and it's not the reality. To think more about what you can influence and what you have influence over, and less about what other people are thinking and what other people are doing. So turn the focus inward, Navid. Stu says, that was super. Lots to think about. Jess says, thank you, David. Lots of love and salutations and peace to all. So we have a beautiful dog that is with us now. She's come to say hi and merge the energy and the consciousness, raising the vibration. So, Navid, does that answer your question? I think it does. Turn your consciousness inward, coming into harmony, grace, and peace, and that's nice. So control the controllables and work on the things you do have influence over. Always focus on that which you have influence over, which is yourself, which is your behavior, what you put in your body, your sleep habits, your daily activities. You always have influence over that, so focus on that, Navita. All right, so love all the hearts, loving all of you, sending everyone lots of love, and wishing you a beautiful afternoon, beautiful evening, beautiful morning. Lots of love to all, and see you all next week. Marianne says I got my work cut out for me. Yeah, shifting the energy, and yet that is what you're here to do. So that is your task. So it is challenging, yet it's also what's meant for you, what's meant to be. Jess says, oh, your puppies, they are getting hungry, I think. That's probably why they came to visit. And she's back on the bed. So she's behind me on the bed, hanging out on the bed. So wishing everyone a beautiful afternoon, beautiful evening. Love to all. Lots of love and peace to everyone. Please do like and share the show if you got something out of this, and see you all next week.